Alright guys, here I'm going to show you how to use the texture offset in UDK. Now, this allows you to actually make it look like your texture is a little bit more robust than it actually is. It's basically overlaying another texture in their material nodes using your using our texture world offset in here. It'll make it look like it's more detailed than it actually is based on position in the world, which actually is pretty neat. When I stumbled upon this, I thought it was way cool. I saw a tutorial on it a while back, and noticed nobody ever made a video tutorial of it, so I'm going to do that now. So let's make a new, excuse me, sorry, asthma. Let's go and import my geo. Should be able to grab that real quick. Let's go to my desktop, Sean Lectures, and texture offset, and we'll grab our FBX wall. And these are the textures we'll be using. We have a specular. There's also a rocks targa here. We can preview what he looks like real quick in Photoshop. You see we can actually combine this guy too if we want to. Let me check his images. Now remember, whatever images you bring in has to be increments of 2. It could even be 512 by 1024. But you have to make sure they're increments of 2, and they have to be a targa, a PNG, or the native, I believe it's DDS. You can get that through Max a little bit easier than you can with Maya. And and the other ones, such as JPEG, don't do JPEG. JPEG's crap. So a lot of people make that mistake. Like, why isn't it working? I get emails panicking. It isn't working. It's a JPEG. JPEG doesn't. UDK doesn't like it. All right, so we say OK. Go in here, check here. Do we need a material? We don't really need a material just yet. I just want to make a new one. I'm going to do this from scratch so you can actually see step by step what I'm doing. We'll create a new package associated with this guy. We'll call this texture offset. A little bit long. That's cool. We'll call this wall, so it's associated. I'll call it text off. That's fine. Static mesh. Don't need a material on this guy just yet. Well, it's going to make a default one, but we're going to apply a new material. We're going to build the nodes and just drag it over to the fella. He's got his UVs and everything. He may already have a material on it. I haven't used this guy in a while, so let's see here. It has detected. It's an older version. This is from a lecture a while back. We say, okay, that's fine. It's important anyway. Should be fine. There's a little model. He has his own little dealios going on. So we're going to apply a texture to this guy. Close that out. I'm going to make a new material. So we're going to go and do in here and do a new material. This material will be with our texture offset. That's fine. We'll call this offset. And underscore matte. Cool. It's good to go. So with our other set of items that we got in here, we're going to import some textures in here too. You got to make sure you save too as you go. I've done that mistake before, even in lectures. As you save, UDK sometimes has some refresh issues. I know Maya sometimes does. You just need to save as you go. In UDK, that's the one way to solve that issue from happening. So let's go in with that material set up. Let's go and import some textures here. So I'm going to go in here and go import. And again, you can go to the hotkey, or not hotkey, but the button down below to grab that up. We're going to grab our noise substance. Open. And we're not going to give them a material. All these by default should be fine. Good to go. I'm going to hit OK to all. You can also just hit OK too. And then we're going to import another couple. We'll do 2 of them because we can play with this a little bit. We'll import the rocks demo. Import this guy. And just say OK. And we'll do one more. No, we're not going to use this guy this time. If we have time, I'll do another demo with that. The reason why is because it may not fit this guy, and you may barely see changes between them if he's layered on top of it. If it's the other way around, then it'll look a little bit different. But we'll keep this object based, and then we'll also put in one more import. We'll bring in the specular. And this guy we're going to use to change the texture around a little bit. You'll see it shift. Well, maybe we'll combine these guys. We'll see how it goes. And we'll also bring in, I said one more, but I lied. We'll go to the normal map. We'll bring him in just to have him there. He's really not going to do anything this time around, but I can show you, point out the fact that you can also do the same thing what we're going to do here for a normal map. Alright, so with these guys all set up, we know that we're in the material right now. This guy, texture, offset, he's right there. So offset, matte, offset, matte. So let's go and drag these textures in the scene. So I'm going to go and drag them in here. And I'll grab this guy, drag him in here. Don't really need the spec, but I'm going to put him in here anyway. I'm going to put him down below. And we're not going to mess with him just yet. Let me try that again. There we go. Alright, so that's a quick way to get these guys in here. This gives us our 2D coordinates for our object. Got the UV set up, and that allows us to either animate, rotate, or do another function to be able to actually get a distortion going on. Maybe I'll make another tutorial on that later. So, with these guys set in, we are now going to connect some of these, but we're going to have to create some nodes to make this play nice. So first up, what we're going to do is move these two guys back just a little bit. So you can watch your order of operations as I work. We're going to bring in the multiply node. Let's go and bring him in. We're going to drag two of them in here. There we go. Yay! 2 multiplies. Excellent. We're going to grab one more, put it in the front. We're going to make one more in the back too, but we're going to put another one in the front. So we're going to have a total of 3. So let me go and put this guy up high. Hit Control. Make sure I do that. Control. As I click on this guy, drag and move. All right, 3 multiplies. And also, I think I forgot to bring in my normal map, so I'll bring him in. We'll just leave him down here. And we'll move the spec over just a bit and normal map just a bit. Now, multiplies by themselves are cool, but they do need some help. There's some things in here that we can bring in to increase ranges and scale according to texture coordinates, powers and so forth. And one of the things you use for bumping up the power and bumping up the influence on these guys is we'll use a constant. So we're going to make a few constants here in just a bit. So let's go and put a constant on here. And again, because you'll notice these guys by themselves, you open up expression, it just has a description line. We can actually go into the other channels on these guys and actually bump up things with our constant node. And we're not going to use any of these guys. We'll just use this guy for now. Pull in one constant. We're going to pull in about 2 more. And let me see here. 1, 2, let me see. I think we have, let me get 2 more. 1 more in here. See down below. So we got 2 constants. We got 1 up here, 1 down below. And what we're going to do is set this one to 15. Now this is going to be our color range, or actually strength here. Put 15 on him. You see it changed to 15. We can put a description in it for anybody else messing with the scene. We'll call this upper color control. We'll just call it upper control here. So we know that it's plugged in through diffuse. Diffuse. You can describe it, and you'll see the description show up here. Isn't that nice? That's so nice and pretty. So you can do that pretty much with all your nodes. It actually helps things out. And this guy here, we can have for specular control, and we're going to set him to like 0.25. And you can change this a little bit. We'll call this spec CNTRL. So we got upper control diffuse and spec control down below. Because what we want to do is we want this guy to as we move our object in 3D space, it's going to shift the color information on the object. Hopefully I don't have any refresh issues. If so, I'll include a video that you guys can see the actual sample of it actually working. I've been having a little bit of graphics card issues, but hopefully that's not going to be a problem anymore. I did just download my drivers. So we got our upper control diffuse, spec control down below. Again, this is just for a shift between these two guys. And let me see here. we are now going to go into our other texture sample. So we have 1, 2, 3. I think we have another one, right? There he is, right here. I think he's in here, right? There he goes, down below. I'm going to pull him a little bit higher. First, I'm going to bring him in the mix in just a second. So we got our two constants set in. We're going to actually add an add node and a texture coordinates is what we're going to pull in. So let's go and do an add node. And texture coordinates. There he goes. I'm going to pull him up a little bit. And with our add node, we're going to add another multiply. I don't know what I would do without this guy. This guy is so helpful and handy. So we got that set up. We got a multiply. So we're also going to need a mask. So let's put in mask. Component mask in this case. It'll just say mask. I won't say component. FYI, if you're confused, oh, where is the one that Sean said in the video? And we're going to do another constant. So I'm just setting them up to be into place here. And you can do this. I find that this sometimes is a little bit easier to follow the steps, because once they're in place, then all you need to do is punch them in, plug them into the right thing. It's like the knee bone connected to the shin bone. So we're going to lower this guy because he's going to help with our offset movement. We're going to lower this guy to like 0.00115. I think we'll be okay. 0.00115. You can play with this any way that you want, and again, you can give it a description. We'll call this offset. I'll just call it offset power. It's fine. So we got this here, all in there. We got a mask, and then we need one really crucial one. This is one of the last pieces, but we have to have this guy. We're going to have to go in here and get an object world position. This guy allows our texture to shift. So object, hopefully it didn't change the name. There we go, cool. Every once in a while you'll see them change the name of things, which can be a pain in the butt. And again, you'll see there's not much to this guy. So where our power is going to be derived, our power is from the multiplies, the adds, and the constants. They really are going to allow us to actually build upon our particular set. So with the mask set in, let's go and I'm going to move my mask a little bit forward. We're going to move this guy back just a little bit. I'm going to start plugging things in. So I'm going to go here. We're going to go to the RG. So the world offset to the mask right there. I said RG, but I meant mask. Got him right in there. We're going to get our texture coordinates, and we're going to punch him into the A. We're going to get the mask down below, and so we're just going to go from the left to right, and I mean the right to left in this particular case. Move this back a little bit, and we're going to get our mask and punch it into the A of the multiply down below. And again, you can give them names for each one if you want. It's totally up to you. And then we're going to go to our power offset and plug them into the B channel. So what we're linking right now is our object world position with the mask, the multiply, and the power offset of how strong it's going to be. You can control that. Now that we have that all set up, let me actually move this guy up just a little bit and move this guy up just a little bit. I love the fact that text stays in there. It's so fancy. It's like the future. So we got add here. So this add, we're now going to punch into our texture sample. Now, we don't have to keep this particular one if we don't want to. I can go in here, like I said earlier, I can shift these out if I want. I can go and grab this guy and punch this in there. So we can use a completely different texture if I wanted. But I'm going to hit Control Z for a second because I'm jumping ahead of myself. Because we need to actually go into our multiply here. Let me see if do I have enough multiplies. Got one here. Let's go and grab this guy. And we're going to move him up top. And we're going to move our constant so it doesn't quite get in the way. Move him here. Texture sample here. Move this guy up. And texture coordinates just a little bit back. Just a tad. and our multiplier right here. There we go. So let's plug in this guy, our upper control diffuse, and then we're going to grab the red channel of our texture sample and put it into B. Try that again. There we go. So, and then our add, remember we started our texture coordinate? We're going to get this guy and plug him into that guy right there. Now we're not done because we do have a B channel that's free right now. Let me go back to this particular one down below, which I started. And we're going to grab this guy, and hitting control to do this. I'm moving everything back a little bit. With this set up, this whole chain which you saw me do earlier, we're going to bring him into that B channel right there. So what we're doing is we're setting up this chain here to go from the red channel into the multiply here, and we're controlling how strong that's going to be with our constant. And then we're going to go into one more multiply. So we're going to do one more. Let's get this multiply, pull them up. I'm hitting Alt on accident. And we're going to switch textures in a little bit here so you can actually see the different effect. And then we're going to punch this guy right in there in the A. So we're not quite done yet because we don't quite have everything that we want. So this texture sample, we're going to hang on to this guy. We're going to make him the specular. Doesn't have to be. Could be the one we actually have created for specular, but I'm going to make it this guy just to get a little bit weird and see how this plays out. And I'm going to grab his texture information, punch it into B, and then I'm going to grab the multiply down below that we created. Just in case you don't remember where he's at, he's right here. I'm going to pull him up. And I'm going to connect this guy into A. And then remember that specular control down here? This is that dude. We're going to now put him into the B channel. Try that again. So we have a pretty elaborate little node system here. Trust me, it gets worse. But I wanted to make sure I went through each part for you, because now we're going to start hooking it all together. So let's go here, and in the diffuse channel, I will punch in the first color. There he goes. Pretty cool. And in the specular, I'm going to punch in the one that we created right there. Now we should be able to see a shift. It may not be super dramatic. If not, what you can do is you can swap out. We can bring this specular guy up, put him here, and put the color information up in here. So we can swap these out if we need to. So let's go ahead and hit the check mark here. And we know it's it remembers all of our information. If you want, we can also put the normal map in there too. Forgot about that. So I'll put him in there. Boop. Normal, extreme normals. And hit this guy. Probably could be toned down a bit. I never messed with strength of that. Alright, I'm going to close it out. In this case, we can just minimize it. Let's go to our geo. And let's save real quick, because it can get fussy when you don't save. So we Command Z. We'll do the content. That's fine. My package texture offset save. Cool. And we'll save the scene. Save scene as texture offset. And save. Please don't crash or anything weird. There we go. There shows my little generic light maps it made for me. That's nice. Let's go to here. Let's go and drag this in. I'll scale it up here real tiny. So I'll keep my finger on the widget there. I didn't do a test on this before. Alright, so we got a little wall set in here. So what we need to do is get our material applied. So it looks like it didn't quite take, but that's fine. We just drag it on it. Now we got a texture on this guy. Now watch this. This is actually where it can be kind of cool. Hopefully it'll work in our case. If not, I can switch the materials around. I'm going to hit my finger on the Alt key. And you'll see, if you look really good, you'll see a little bit of shift of the texture. Not as dramatic as I want, but let's go ahead and change our material. Double click on the material here. We're going to change this out. I'm going to break his connection. Whenever you want to do that, you just say break link. And I'm going to switch it out a little bit. So I'm going to make the main material up here. So I'm going to break link on him too. Break link. And we'll break link on this guy too. Break link. And we're going to move him up here. I'm going to punch this in there. And then I'm going to grab his red channel. This is how I originally had it. Put it in there. And with that, we do need another color in here. So we're going to cough up our old spec that we were messing with before. And I'm going to grab his color information, put it in A. If you hear my phone in the background, please forgive my phone. He is dumb. And let me see here. Make sure I got all my nodes connected. We got the this guy here, this guy here. Okay, yeah. So we got to get into our B channel. So let's go to our B channel up in here. There we go. So we got like a little darkness falls across the land. That's fine though. We hit OK. Should update stuff in the scene. Cool, cool, cool. So now it should work. When you move it, there you go. When you move it, you'll see the shift of the texture information. You'll see it move, and you can actually make it look like a brand new texture. Now my texture is a little bit strong, so it may not come out as ideally, but what this does, it makes it so that every time you duplicate a piece, let me hit, get my finger on the Alt key, you can end up having something a little bit different than the last one, ever so slightly. Now it isn't quite as extreme as I'm going for, so we can change that up if we want to. It was working before, it just really was subtle, so we can actually even get more of an extreme type of texture into our scene. So if we swap them out, what if we swapped them and made it so that this guy is specular and this guy is the texture? Let's see what that'll do. So we'll double click. Again, hopefully this will help you understand the concepts a little bit better. Break link. Break link. Move this down. There we go. And break link. Move him up. Move this guy here. Punch it in there. And move this guy here. Punch it in there. And the add goes into here. See if I missed anything. A, B, C, D. Oh, that's right. I gotta do red channel. Follow my own advice. One more time. Alright, so multiply doesn't seem to like those. Oh, that's right, because we gotta get one more. Boop. There we go. So it's all brown there. Let me hit check mark. Should get more color information. There we go. Just by swapping those out. And you'll notice every time I shift or move my object, you'll see the texture underneath shift, which is actually kind of nice. So it's using my spec information to shift things, and this actually works so much better than what I had before. And I'll hit the Alt key again and move it over. So every time you move your wall into the scene, you can get a different looking piece of texture. Move them right there, deselect. Look at that, cool. And it's all using the same two textures, and all it is when I move, that causes it to shift. Now you'll notice on the Y plane it doesn't do that, or the Z plane, or Z as the Canadians call it. But you'll notice if I go forward or backward, you'll see it change and look different than the other one. Each one looks different. Isn't that cool? Cool. All right, guys. So I'm glad I got to show you that. It's pretty cool. Same node system. Just use the one that I created. And again, just by switching the colors around and moving things around to get different results. That's about it. And I hope you had a good one.